London, it's sunny. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Very nice to see you all. Happy Tuesday if you're watching me live. Just saying the sun is shining down here in the West Country. Let me know if it's shining where you are. Let's have a bit of interactive weather chat. Today we're going to be talking about ways to improve focus, energy, vision, all of those good things. I'm going to be joined by one of our favourite friends here, Craig Rose, none other than Dr. Seaweed. And I'm particularly interested in chatting to him now because, of course, I am fresh back from my trip to the Outer Hebrides. So I spent quite a long time up there actually looking where the seaweed comes from, both for Ishka, which is the great skincare brand. I've been using their skin tonic particularly, love it. Actually, not only is it so good for the skin, but it also smells great. I love their kind of slightly fresh, herby, sea breeze aroma that they put into everything. It's really good. But when I was up there, I went out and I did seaweed harvesting. So I went onto the beaches and hand cut the seaweed that Ishka use. And then there is a much bigger scale of seaweed for producing the seaweed supplements. And it's amazing, actually. And I'm so impressed with what they do, and the waters are so clear and so pure, and it's so sustainable. You know, I remember talking to Craig before about it, and he was saying that it's the most sustainable food source in the world because seaweed just grows naturally, and it grows in seawater, so it doesn't need any fresh water. You don't need to fertilise it or, you know, feed it with anything. It just grows, and you cut it, and it just grows back again. You know, so you can't deplete it. It's not like chopping down the rainforest or anything like that. So, yeah, really, really interesting. Hi. So Nicola says hi from the sunny Forest of Dean. Lorraine is chatting to us from Northumberland. Janine, my top. So it's a Me and M. It's a Me and M shirt. I love it. Great British brand. So I think the collar's supposed to do this. What do you think? I guess you could do that with it, but I kind of quite like it up. Anyway, it's a pretty colour, don't you think? I'm here in my bedroom, so I'm surrounded by bits of pink. And you may have seen, actually, pictures from my bedroom on my Instagram. I'm feeling a little bit bleary, having had a very heavy weekend. So it was my middle daughter, Brella. It was her 21st birthday celebrations this weekend. It wasn't actually her actual birthday. Her birthday's in January. So we had a tiny family get-together in January, but obviously with all the restrictions and things, it was difficult to have a big party. And also she was in the middle of her finals, doing her dissertation and everything from uni, and we wanted to do a big tent in the garden, so we thought, you know what, January is probably not the best time to be doing all of that. So we did it now, because she's finished all her uni stuff, which is really fun. So she is a free agent for a while anyway. And then after the big party, I then had a sort of a housewarming lunch for my house here because I haven't really been here that long and I've been away in Kenya. So I just thought, seeing as we had the tent up, you know, and we'd hired all the tables and chairs, it just made sense to do for local people, local friends, to do a housewarming lunch. So I am actually feeling just a little bit tired. So I'm very personally invested now in this chat that we're going to have with Dr. Seaweed because it is about focus, energy, and vision. So let's see if Craig is with us. Oh, who's in Sardinia? Very warm. Rosanna, how lovely. I'd love to be in Sardinia. I went to Sardinia, actually I was filming with ITV because they have some of the longest lived people in the world in Sardinia. So I did a little documentary over there. Let's see. Craig, I have accepted you, so hopefully. Hi, nice to see you.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm a wee bit tired, so I'm looking forward to having some energy ideas.
Well, good. Well, it was my birthday too this weekend, so I had also a fairly big weekend.
Excellent.
Not 21, sadly.
Was it the big 3-0, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Close enough. Yeah, that'll do.
And I'm sorry that I missed you up in the Outer Hebrides. I think we just passed, didn't we? You'd been there. Literally, yeah, exactly. But what a beautiful place and what amazing people with that seaweed.
Honestly, it is. It's like, to me, it's like a wilderness still in the UK because it's so rugged and wild and remote, but it's beautiful. No one's ever been and hasn't just fallen in love with it because it's so everything's so random. The people are such characters, and the scenery is so striking. And obviously the seaweed's fantastic. Goes without saying. But no, it's amazing. I'm so glad you got to go up. And sorry I ended up hijacking your Ishka Instagram
Oh,
live.
that's so funny. Those of you who saw it, exactly. It was meant to be just with Malcolm and Ishka. And then, of course, we saw that you were online, so we joined you in. I don't know whether they're going to photobomb our Instagram today, but we'll see.
They wouldn't dare. I got into trouble for it.
I hope you didn't, because but you know, seaweed is just one of those amazing ingredients that work on the inside and the outside, and that's why they get such great results for their skincare. And we have them as a Liz Loves, obviously with a discount for Ishka, and then you can take it internally. So it's fantastic that it is this two-way, because I always think that beauty and well-being is all about that two-pronged approach, really, what we put in as well as what we put on.
Absolutely. It is. It's all, for us, you know, it's all about beauty from within, but obviously the seaweed does lots of other things as well. But as you saw, where the seaweed comes from is so important, because there's about 10,000 different types of seaweed around the world, and we focus just on one because it's extremely sustainable, it's highly nutritious, but we can get lots of it sustainably from the Isle of Lewis, where you were in the Hebrides. So, and you saw the boats that the harvest on, you know, the really strange look. They're like, we're describing as floating lawnmowers or like hedge trimmers.
They
just
are
very
extraordinary. So I went out, I was lucky enough to go out with Martin, and who I think is, I don't know how he's connected, maybe he's one of the partners or whatever, but, you know, has obviously been in seaweed all his life, man and boy.
Yeah.
And he invented this, like a seaweed combine harvester, floating combine harvester. And Lainey, my photographer, and I, we went out on them, and he let us drive them and actually harvest some of the seaweed. We had the best fun. It was amazing. And, you know, the work that goes into it, the love and the care, and that you can see the sustainability, you know, all in these amazing locks. There's just, I mean, they say that even though they produce, I forget how much they cut a day, like 5 tons or something.
They can do 20 tons with 2 boats in a day, and you won't even really see that it's gone, because unlike most other places in the world, they're cut by hand. So if you imagine you've got the seaweed floating like this and they're cutting from the bottom, because if you get cut by hand, then you get paid by weight. So they're cutting it right from the base at low tide, so it's exposed, you know, the seeds out, the tide's out. Yeah. Whereas they cut around high tide,
they
so the
just
seeds
trim the top.
And they just trim the top. Yeah.
They were saying
so you can take much more.
Yeah, even though they might, you know, take 10, 20 tons, it's less than 5% of the whole lot, and then it just regrows. So I mean, it's you don't even notice it. I mean, it's extraordinary.
No. And the amazing thing is as well is that, and there was lots of studies on this, it grows a bit like a hand. So if you cut from here, another finger grows from the bottom. And it's as if, because obviously the seaweed's adapted so that if it's damaged in a storm or it's predated on, then the response is, oh, I need to grow more, because that's, you know, to survive. So when they cut it, it encourages more growth. Which is the same with lots of plants. So it is highly sustainable, and, you know, it's very, very carefully
It's like pruning, I guess. I mean, that's how you make your roses thrive, isn't it? You prune them, and if you don't do that, then they, you know, become stunted and not very vigorous. So no, it is amazing. Now, for those who haven't met or heard Craig before, Dr. Seaweed, do you want to give us a very quick little overview of your journey as a marine biologist and your work with seaweed?
No, definitely. So basically, like you said, so the doctor in the Dr. Seaweed, it's a real doctor. It's not a medical doctor though. So it's marine biology, and that's my background. And I guess I was searching for a while as a way of how do I balance the sort of research I've done and the passion I have for working with the sea with a business, with something that we can grow and help people. And I met Martin, who on the boat, Malcolm, about 15 years ago or more, on a project that I was working on where we were looking at how to turn seaweed into biofuels, which is another big area. So seaweed sort of does everything, basically. So I was based up in Aberdeen, and we were looking at this work of turning seaweed into biofuel, and I met the guys on the Hebrides there, but then saw this opportunity in food and nutrition. So I started my business in 2015, and we put our own equipment in their factory for all the processing of food-grade seaweed. So, as you said, Hebridean Seaweed Company, which is their company, they've got Ishka for the cosmetics. They supply huge amounts into animal feed and horticulture.
Yeah, amazing. Organic fertilizer, incredible.
Yeah, but big volumes. It's not like some niche little thing.
It's, it's massive. I mean, the factory is like huge, extraordinary.
And it's so impressive. So all the food stuff we do, and then we launch, so we've always supplied that into food manufacturers and nutrition companies. But my vision was always, how do we get people to engage with seaweed every day and benefit from its health benefits to really feel wonderful? So then I launched the Dr. Seaweed's Weed and Wonderful brand, and that was all about the Dr. Seaweed was to sort of give my own background and the story there, but the Weed and Wonderful, that was the original product there, which is still around. Weed and Wonderful was very much saying, because all the research shows that people know seaweed is good for them. They might not know why, but they know it's good. However, to put it in the mouth, it's like, oh, it's still a little bit weird. So the Weed and Wonderful was playing on that to sort of address the elephant in the room, if you like, and say, look, you might think it's weird, but it's not. It's wonderful. And that's why capsules, so all the products are supplements. They're so easy to take, but all it is that food. So seaweed is just a food in a capsule. And
just ground up seaweed, that's it.
And that's it, pretty much. And then as we've expanded the range, we've just added other natural plant-based ingredients to provide other benefits, building around that natural wonder.
So this is one that we've talked about before. We do have an amazing Liz Loves, by the way, on all of this. I should just throw that out there before we carry on. So Liz Loves gets you 20% off everything on Dr. Seaweed, and it is drseaweed.com. Plus, you've got an incredible subscriptions, which are already discounted by 15%. And am I right in saying that you can still apply your Liz Loves on top of that?
Yeah, so you'll get 15% off for subscribing, plus then 20% with Liz Loves.
35%
and you can cancel
off.
at any time.
Amazing.
So, I hate saying this because I shouldn't, but you can subscribe, get the big discount, and then cancel. Which is awful to me.
I love you.
However,
but that's because you've got confidence in that people are going to love it.
Absolutely.
And have more energy and feel good.
30-day, we say, if you're not happy in 30 days, send the product back and we'll give you a full product refund. Because you need to give it at least 30 days or, 3 weeks, let's say, to see a difference. Yeah. But the testimonials we get are so fantastic on all the products that we're really confident. And just say as well, because people often get, the domain is Doctor spelt in full, DOCTOR, drseaweed.com.
drseaweed.com. And so we've talked about the original one, so that is the pure seaweed.
Yeah.
And we've talked before about thyroid and metabolism and all of that, which is why it's so good with all the iodine. And then we have the menopause one, nice pink packaging, very appropriate. So this has the B complex, the vitamin C, D3 and red clover.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting one, I think, to take for midlife women, perimenopause, menopause.
All the way through, definitely. And that's where, with the pure seaweed, which is all about, it's a natural whole food, it's got iodine in there, but thyroid is the key thing. And we had a lot of women taking it who said it's really helped with the symptoms of menopause. So we then developed the menopause one, with, like you say, the B vitamins, the vitamin C, the red clover, the vitamin D, just to build on that, to address some of the other symptoms around mental performance, skin health, bone function, things like energy as well, and keeping that energy up as you go, and hormonal activity with the B5. So
lots of comments, actually, of people saying how much they love it.
Good.
And somebody here, Ches, says, I've taken this for 6 months now and gone from taking 100 milligrams of thyroid medication down to 50 milligrams. So the iodine is working. Interesting. So if people are on a thyroid medication, they can get some relief potentially?
Honestly, we had another customer say, because I think depending where you are, you might get tested every 6 months. And one customer, she'd been on a thyroxine type drug for 15 years. And then since taking the supplements for a few months, she went for a test and the thyroid was normal after 15 years of drugs.
No.
So, and I saw someone ask before about the, if you're on a thyroid-based drug, basically this is just a food in a capsule. So if your doctor hasn't said avoid seafood, you should be fine. Each capsule of the pure seaweed one, for example, has about as much iodine as a portion of haddock. So it's not crazy high levels, it's very good, rich levels. But don't think it's like, it comes in these nice blister packs. So people think they look like a drug or a medicine, but it is just a food.
Just a food. So it's basically like eating a plate of haddock. One portion of haddock added to your diet every day. But obviously easier and cheaper. But how amazing that you can then reduce or even come off your thyroid medication, potentially.
And, you know, potentially, and obviously we always have to say speak to your doctor.
I mean, speak to your doctor. We're not making any medical claims, but it makes sense because you're having a natural food source of iodine.
And also, we've just launched on our website an iodine test. So it's 5 simple questions. So you can do it. It takes about 20 seconds. So if they go to the website, it's on the homepage at drseaweed.com, and it will tell you what. So most people in the UK are iodine deficient. The main sources are basically dairy and then fish, but particularly white fish. We tend to eat more salmon now, which is good for other things, but it's very low in iodine. So it's your cod and your haddock that are the rich ones.
And of course, anybody who's restricting themselves and not having dairy, not having milk, for example, whole milk, it runs the risk of being iodine deficient.
Massively, because dairy is the traditional source in the British diet for iodine. And you don't get this anywhere else. So there's hardly any in land plants. So the closest, the land plant with the biggest iodine content is actually peanuts. Randomly. So you would need to get 1 capsule's worth of iodine, so that 0.5 gram of seaweed, you would need nearly 2 kilograms of peanuts.
That's a lot of peanut butter sandwiches.
It is a lot, and there's all the other health aspects that come with eating 2 kilograms of peanuts every day.
Every day might make you just, your trousers not fit anymore.
And it is a sort of, it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, it's allergen-free, it's kosher certified.
Kosher certified even, my goodness.
Kosher, and these 2 are organic as well. The seaweed is organic and all of them. So, so I mean, there's nobody really that can't take it that I can think of. And even the capsule's open because it's just a powder inside, so you can put it in a smoothie or add it to food. It's super easy.
Yeah, you could stir it. I mean, I actually quite like cooking with seaweed flakes. I mean, seaweed, I think, do they say, is it a natural umami flavour?
Exactly,
Which is why the Japanese cook with it so much. So you could open a capsule, stir it into a soup or a sauce or a smoothie. You know, if you didn't want to actually have the capsules, even a bit of yogurt if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, it tastes of seaweed, but that's
funny
like
that.
Say, if you cook it into the food, it does blend in. It tends to be more savoury stuff it works with, but weirdly it works with yogurt. But yeah, look, the capsules are perfect for people that don't like the taste because there might be a very slight flavour, but nothing really noticeable.
And obviously completely safe with HRT, you know, looking at the menopause one. There's no, it's like, as we say, it's a food supplement. It's not, there's no contraindication. I mean, I take it. I've got my HRT.
Exactly. There's nothing in there that you couldn't get from your diet. And so, I could take the menopause one.
You could.
As a man.
And you wouldn't grow breasts or anything.
I'd like to, but no, I wouldn't.
Now, where are we? Jo here, she's saying, I'm perimenopausal and I have hypothyroidism. Which one should I take?
I would probably say the menopause because you'll still get a good amount of iodine. So the iodine is still 163% of your RDA iodine in this.
Great. And then the benefit of the others. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you could take both and try these 2 together.
Could you take both at the same time?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say of the 4 products, I probably wouldn't take more than 2 at any one time. But definitely, if you're looking for that sort of iodine boost, you know, the menopause one should be enough, to be honest.
Yeah. But for somebody with a thyroid issue, you might need to up it a bit.
Yeah, and that's why I say try this one. as well.
But great that people are going to their GP and being tested, and then being able to titrate their medication down, because the blood tests are showing that actually their iodine levels are coming up, and therefore the medicine gets reduced. Isn't it maddening that modern medicine is not more aware of things like this? So quick to go down the route of a pharmaceutical.
It's so scary, because actually from a lot of the research that's been done with Glasgow University, who we work with, the actually huge part of the population are subclinical. So when you go for your thyroid to be tested, they look at a thing called TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone. And if it's above 4.5, then you're classed as hypothyroidic, having an underactive thyroid, and you're put on drugs. But anywhere from about 2 to 4.5, you'll feel pretty grotty. And these are things that you'd probably live with but not feel quite right. So tiredness and fatigue, weight gain and difficulty losing weight, sensitivity to cold, brittle hair and nails, things like that. But because you're in that subclinical category, the doctor will look at the results and you're not in the clinical range, so they won't do anything. Whereas because the vast majority of the population are deficient in iodine, as we said, the fish and the dairy, that subclinical categories where when you start taking the supplements, the first thing people notice within a few weeks is the hair's better, skin's better, nails are growing fast, and then the energy starts to come, because your thyroid affects your metabolism. So your metabolism keeps your energy up, but it's also how well you turn your food into your energy. So that affects your weight gain and that difficulty losing weight. We've had customers as well who have said they've been on sort of calorie-controlled diets, they're exercising, but they're just not shifting the weight. And then they've started taking the supplements, and because they're normalising the thyroid, suddenly that weight they want to lose is starting to go. And they're not changing anything else. And it's just because the thyroid produces hormones that have loads of different effects on your body. Also brain health, which we'll come on to with the new product as well, which is really key.
Do you know, I've been researching a lot about brain health, partly for my own interest, but also for work and also for my elderly parents, and, really concerned about things like Alzheimer's, dementia, aging well, cognitive function, all of that. So I'm very, very interested to hear about Focus, which is your new one. So this says on the pack here that it contains B complex, zinc, and omega-3 DHA. DHA obviously crucial for the brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about this. This is the brand new one, is that right?
This is a new one. So I actually saw someone ask the question before, how many do you take a day? So with all of our current products, the immunity, the menopause, and pure seaweed, it's just one a day. But this is the first one, which is 2 a day. So what you've got is the seaweed in these, which is blended, which gives you your iodine for cognitive function, blended with the natural zinc, blended with the B complex as well. And then in these capsules, so it's one of those and then one of these, and this is your Algol Omega-3 Dha. So the story behind these really is that there was some research done a few years ago that showed that about 2.5 million years ago, we were living as hunter-gatherers, and we were living quite terrestrially. And then as the climate slowly changed, we moved towards the coast. And as hunter-gatherers, it meant we'd take whatever we could find, and we started eating seaweed and seafood. And that gave us access to iodine, to zinc, and to fatty acids like omega-3, DHA. And that led, the research showed, to the evolution of the modern human brain. So those nutrients were essential for brain development and led to the intelligence of the modern human brain that we have, but they remain essential today. So what we've done, again, with our seaweed, but those other natural plant-based ingredients, was take those essential nutrients to support brain health, to support mental performance, which is so important, especially as you get older. But also the 3 elements of focus that we're focusing on is that brain health and mental performance, is energy and reduction of tiredness, because you need that energy in order to focus, and then also it's vision and eye health. We spend so long now looking at screens. We have to look after our eyes. I'm loving that people are looking at the screens right now. That's fantastic. But the rest of the day, look at something else. But it's so important to look after our eyes and make sure we get the right nutrients there. So again, it's building on that natural wonder of the seaweed with these other critical ingredients.
So this is an algae-produced DHA, is that right?
Yeah. So most DHAs people take from fish oil, that's what people have heard of. But the fish can't produce the DHA, they get it from the algae. So all we've done is go straight back to the original source, which is the algae, and also it's a plant-based for those that are on a plant-based diet.
Exactly, so if you're vegan or veggie, then you can have this. And is it as effective then?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is just basically the same form. So, as we said, the fish can't produce it. They only get it because they're eating the algae.
From the algae. Interesting. So this pack, just to be clear, these boxes, when you open them up, you've got your seaweed and you've got your algae DHA. So you take them both together.
One a day you'll be. Yeah, so it's two a day in total. The soft gel, it's called, with the oil in, and then the hard capsule with the seaweed, the zinc and the B vitamins.
Absolutely amazing. And you've got everything there for eye health, as you say, the zinc, the omega-3, the vitamin B2, and then for the reduction of tiredness and fatigue, certainly what I need right now, you've got your vitamins B2, B5, B6 and B12. And then you've got for energy yielding metabolism, iodine, B1, B2, B5, B6, biotin and B12. I mean, it's an amazing combination that you put together here.
No, it's great, and the challenge was as well to make it all natural.
Yep.
Because it's very easy to do supplements synthetic, but we've seen, and each box as well comes with these flyers, which have got a bit about me, a bit of the research we do, and some of the research showed that the natural iodine, it stays in the body longer, it gives a more sustained release, because synthetic nutrients, you basically just weed them out. It ends up being just expensive weed. So everything we've done is totally natural because it works better in the body, you get more bang for your buck. So getting the B vitamins all natural and plant-based as well, and the zinc, and as we discussed, the Algol Omega-3s, you know, it is easier to go to fish oils and cheaper, to be honest. But we wanted to make sure everybody could have it. As we said before, it's kosher certified, it's plant-based, it's vegan. So there's nobody that can't have this pretty much. And, you know, it does offer so many different benefits around that. You know, this is why we called it focus, because there's different aspects about your brain health and your mental performance, your energy you have to keep up, but the literal focus of your eye health. So, and again, the feedback we've been getting, we just launched this, when was it, the start of May, so it's relatively new. But in the first month or so, people are already saying how much it's really helped them. Just with that energy, you know, like I said, even with the pure seaweed one, it's something people really notice.
Amazing. That was one of the questions actually I saw on Instagram just now, was how quickly do you see a difference when you start taking the capsules?
So it depends on your wider diet. Look, it's not like an aspirin where you have a headache and you take it and it goes. What we normally say is give it at least 2 to 3 weeks, and generally then most people are feeling a difference. And it's the aesthetics that you notice first, the skin, the hair and the nails, because the iodine's so good for that. I saw someone ask about psoriasis actually just before, and it's definitely worth trying the pure seaweed one for psoriasis, because it does help. I've got a cousin who's got bad psoriasis, and it really helps because it's so important for skin health. We've had lots and lots of teenagers and older people take it who've got acne, and it really helps with that. And again, it's not a miracle drug. It's just quite simple. If you're not getting enough iodine in your diet, which most people aren't, and as I said, there's this simple test on our website, then you're just giving your body something it needs, and then it sorts itself out. The main thing being around skin health.
Amazing, really amazing. And I think, you know, as a parent particularly, I've got, you know, many children, and they've all gone through different phases of faddy eating over the years. And I mean, luckily they all do eat a pretty good balanced diet at the moment, but it is a real worry, I think, particularly as a parent, when your children start restricting their diet and excluding really important food groups. And so to be able to give them something back. And of course, I've just recorded a podcast actually this morning with Melissa Helmsley talking about mental health, and particularly the impact during lockdown and for teens, for students. And if you're not fortifying yourself with good nutrition, and you're subjected to lockdowns or to terrifying, scary news headlines the whole time, or social isolation, it's just terrible. And you can spiral so quickly into a really deep pit of mental health anguish and depression and more.
Yeah.
And of course the physical side effects of having brittle nails, breakouts, dry skin, exacerbated psoriasis, eczema, all of that. So to be able to just really simply put something good back in, I think, is so important.
It is, and that's why as well we say, this is great, the focus product for younger people, especially if they've got exams, if they're at university, etc. And it is that, because mental health is such a complex thing, and it does affect, like I said, it affects your physical health so much. And then you get into this awful cycle of you're feeling depressed, you're feeling down, the news is awful, and then you end up not looking after yourself, which makes it even worse. And actually a supplement, not only is it giving you that essential nutrition, but we have a lot of people, and I do it myself, if I take this in the morning, which is when I take it, then you're putting, and it's so easy, you're putting something good in your body, and if the rest of the day isn't so good, at least you've done something good. And it's that positive action that can then lead to more positive actions. If I don't go to the gym, I just don't feel good, or if I don't do exercise in some way. But as soon as you get out of it, it's very hard to get back into it, and you've got to sort of force yourself. So all these little, for me anyway, all these little actions of taking the supplement in the morning, of at least going for a walk, then help you get back on track a little bit more. Because otherwise, like you say, it can be a really awful downward spiral.
Yeah. Lorraine's asking, where else do we get iodine from in our diet? So we talked about milk and dairy and whitefish particularly.
So basically, on the questionnaire on our website, if you go to drseaweed.com, DOCTOR seaweed.com, there's 5 simple questions. It's basically how much dairy, how much milk do you get a day, how much milk do you have in a week, how many yogurts, how much fish and seafood, how much cheese, and how many eggs. That's it. There's just sort of multiple choice answers.
Those are the main sources of iodine, are they, in the normal diet?
Yeah, they're the only sources. There's basically nothing significant in land. So in land, if you are vegan, you're not getting any iodine naturally. So vegans get a bit angry, some of them do get a bit angry when you tell them something like that, but it's true, there is next to nothing in land plants, unless they're having seaweed or some sort of supplement. But most vegans and most of us are on a much more plant-based diet these days. I'm not vegan, but I eat a lot less meat than I used to, and I never have dairy. So when I did the test, I got 73, and you need 73 micrograms, you need 150 a day. So I wasn't even at 50%, but I take the seaweed every day, therefore I'm fine. But if I wasn't, then I just wouldn't be getting enough.
No.
And I eat pretty well. I have fish, but maybe twice a week, and I have eggs every day. But it's still not enough.
It still wasn't enough.
Not even close.
How interesting. And I know that a lot of the artificial milks, made of nuts and, rice and whatever, unless they're artificially fortified with synthetic iodine, then they're not going to contain it, are they?
No, they don't at all. And then the synthetic stuff that they fortify it with, in the research that's been done, it goes out in your wee, basically.
Really? So even if it says fortified with iodine, it's not actually doing any good?
Wrong. Some will be absorbed.
That's a scandal. They shouldn't be allowed to say it then.
Well, what happens is so in the seaweed or in fish or dairy, because it's bound in a food matrix, you get this slower, more sustained release over time, because you're breaking it down and digesting it and then absorbing it. When it's a pure, isolated form, you absorb it very quickly and then excrete it. So nothing synthetic is ever going to be as good as the natural form. Our bodies have spent millions of years learning how to break down food. So when there's supplements that say there's 200 different nutrients in this capsule, that's not a good thing. No food has 200 different whatever in a capsule. You've got to give your body time to break it down and absorb it. So natural is always best, but everything we do is backed by science as well. So this isn't
Evidence-based, that's what I love about you guys. Yeah. Well, everybody here on, who gets a Liz Loves has to be evidence-based. It has to genuinely work and be good. And it's just one of those things. Go on.
All these claims on the back of the pack that we talk about brain health and mental performance, those are validated, approved health claims. This isn't me just telling you this is what it does. You can't put that on the pack if it's not a validated health claim and a proven health claim.
Yeah.
So that's what we say, rooted in nature and backed by science.
I think that's absolutely right. And then the last one that we have, which has probably been really popular, I think, recently, is the immunity one.
Yeah.
And I particularly love this. This has got your B12 and your D3. I mean, we just know that the D3, vitamin D, is so important right now.
Exactly. And what all the research has shown is that vitamin D, everyone knows now vitamin D, you have to have it for your immunity. But there's no point looking after just your immunity if you're not looking after your wider wellness. So with the immunity product, what we've done is we've taken all that natural wonder of the seaweed. So there's actually as much seaweed in one of these capsules as there is in the pure seaweed. And all we've done is added the natural B12. So there's 100% of your RDA of B12.
Ooh,
and there's
good.
200% of the D3 in there in one capsule, one a day.
Nice. So how much D3 is that, out of interest?
400 IU.
400 IU, 400 international units.
So that's basically, some people are taking 10,000 IU. So
I know, I was going to say, my lot take a lot more because we've got the genetic SNPs that show we need more. So we take thousands of
which is fine, and that's a good point, because what we want to say is if you are taking vitamin D, which so many people are, you can still take this, because you're not, the upper safe limit is huge.
I mean, I know professors and researchers who are taking 20,000 international units daily.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an extraordinary
thing. The EU, the levels are 200 IU is what they say you need a day. That's your 100%. This has got 400, so that's why we say it's 200% of your IU. But as you say, you can go way, way, way above that. And some people do. It depends, I know you are fortunate to get some time in Africa and with a lot of sunshine. So hopefully you get a bit of a natural top up there as well. But sadly for us, there's less of that sunshine. I do get a lot on the head here. It's like a natural solar panel.
It is. Craig doesn't have very much hair visibly showing up here. I'm just saying for our friends on Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks.
I love that natural solar panel.
Exactly.
And then talking about, somebody's asking there about B12, saying that she's got high levels of B12. Has to be careful. So presumably she should take the normal one.
Yeah, you should just take the pure seaweed. All of the others have got some element of B12. Look, the immunity is 100%, but the menopause and focus are 15% of your daily need. Did you say they had an issue with B12? Sorry.
Yeah, she said that this is from Marianne, and she says that she suffers with high B12.
Oh, okay. So definitely the pure seaweed
just
one
have
would
that
be
one
great.
that doesn't have the B12
That is
in it.
literally just the seaweed. There's no levels of B12 there.
Yeah.
And that's the one which, everyone sees loads of benefit, and certainly around that thyroid health.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely brilliant. So Lisa, I think you're late to the party. You're saying, can you take the thyroxine? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
If you've not been told to avoid seafood, go for it. Give it a go. And with something like that, give it a few months and just see how you feel. And then when you get your next test from your doctor, see how your levels are. And that's a great test. But really, I would genuinely encourage everyone to go to drseaweed.com and do this 20-second quiz on their iodine, because you will find out just how dire most people are, because they're literally, all the stats are anywhere up to 80% of women in the UK are not getting enough iodine in the diet. 80%. If that was calcium or iron or something else, there'd be a huge public outcry. but most people aren't really aware of iodine. But it is an essential nutrient. You have to get it in your diet. Otherwise, your thyroid doesn't work properly, and that affects so many different aspects of your brain health, your mental performance, your energy, your metabolism, your skin. It's so important. But, we will let people choose to find out for themselves and try the supplement and see the results.
Yeah, just try it and see. Lisa, that's okay, you're allowed to be late. And then Nikki, so talking about the vitamin D, I use the Better You spray, 3,000 international units. I have probably about 9,000 a day, because I know that I'm not transporting it very well in my system, and I also have the Dr. Seaweed, so it's fine. Fine to take together. It's not going to cause any issue. You've got a very good team, I have to say, Craig, answering lots of questions on Instagram. Can people, email you? I mean, if people have got specific medical questions, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. They can email hello@drseaweed.com. So again, it's doctor spelt in full, DOCTOR seaweed.com. Or they can follow us at Dr. Seaweed, Dr. Seaweed on Instagram or Facebook, and then ask questions that way. Someone's just, what is the quiz called again? So if you just go to our website, so drseaweed.com, it's just on the home page. They'll see a link to it, and it literally takes seconds.
I'm going to get all my kids to do that, actually. I'm going to send them a link.
It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, and my parents too. I'm going to send them a link, because it would just be really interesting. I love that you can work it out, see how deficient you are, or not, but chances are, I think that's so funny that you were deficient, even though you eat fish.
And you have quite a lot of dairy, do you? I've seen you talk about.
I mean, I'll often make a protein shake with real milk, with whole milk. I drink kefir, which is dairy. I love my cheese. I have eggs most days. Don't eat very much white fish. Funny enough, I have pulled out some. I think I got some sea bass fillets in the freezer, which I found this morning, which I pulled out for my supper. So I'm going to have some white fish, but I don't often have white fish. As you say, it's usually like salmon or tuna. So what do you reckon? Do you think I'd probably be a bit low?
Maybe. I think because dairy's been the main source, so maybe depending on how often you have it, you might be okay. I sort of hope everyone isn't, so they buy the product. But no, it'd be interesting if you do the test, if you get a chance to see what you think and how often you have milk. I mean, you would need more than 2 glasses of milk a day if that was your only source of iodine to have enough. No, very few people do, except maybe small children.
Well, even then, they've been so discouraged from milk.
I know.
And there've been some really shocking campaigns taking people off milk, which is really bad news for youngsters.
Look, it's so challenging, because then even my son had he suffers with sort of stomach aches and migraines, and we've not been able to bottom it out. And the doctor actually recently said you should try excluding dairy. And she said he doesn't have an allergy because they're tested, but she said that there's so much stuff now added to milk, steroids and hormones and stuff like added to the cows, and it gets into milk, that it can affect people and give them stomach.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've done quite a lot of work with dairy and made documentaries about milk, and in the UK we're not allowed to add steroids or hormones, so it's different in other countries, but in the UK that won't be the case. But certainly, buying organic, free-range milk is the way to go for sure. But one of the things that I've been investigating, sorry, this is completely off topic, but might be interesting, is the amount of people that have issues with gluten now. And it's not necessarily the gluten, it's actually the glyphosate in the bread and the pasta and the glyphosate that's being used to spray on wheat products that ends up, residues end up in the gut, that's causing the irritation and that's causing the sensitivity. So, I know it's a bit more expensive, but it is all the more reason, if you're going to eat bread, to buy an organic loaf.
No, absolutely. Honestly, and this is why with the seaweed as well, the seaweed's all organic, but because it's wild, as you saw yourself up there, it's wild harvested.
Completely
so
pure.
There's not even the opportunity to add stuff to it, because it's pristine waters. There's there's no heavy industry
You could
there.
literally
there's no
pick it up off the
agriculture.
beach and eat it. I mean, it's amazing.
It is, and there, you know, there's no oil and gas around there, so it's proper pristine water, which is so important, because seaweed will, like with wheat, if you grow wheat in a field with radioactive soil, it will take it up, and it's the same with seaweed. Seaweed actively will take up heavy metals, and it'll actively take up radiation. So if the water has any sort of contaminants in it, then the seaweed will bioaccumulate that will build in the tissues of the seaweed. So that's why where it comes from is so important. So you saw in the Hebrides, that water is perfect. It's
So
amazing
pure.
quality.
And I was
And
also
that
talking
comes
to
through the product.
Martin, and he was saying that a lot of his seaweed, this huge tonnage of seaweed that he makes every day, is going off to places like California to be used as natural fertilizers. And I said, you know, well, don't they have their own seaweed over in California? And he said, no, they don't have the right type or the right purity.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And the type that we focus on, it only grows in the North Atlantic.
Does it?
But even in other parts, so all around, the east coast of the US, it'll grow, and into Canada. And then around sort of Norway, UK, northern France. But in some parts of Europe even, they've had problems with heavy metals because of agriculture runoff. So where it comes from is so key, in that purity, like you say. So to be organic certified, you have to prove things like heavy metal levels, etc. So absolutely, this, you know, the seaweed from the Hebrides is in such huge demand all around the world because of that purity and quality that it gives, and the wider nutrients. So we've talked just about iodine, which is the key one in our seaweed, but we've done lots of research on weight management, blood sugar management. So the polyphenols in the seaweed can help to manage blood sugar release. So it basically effectively keeping you fuller for longer. So it's more, it's analogous to having a bowl of porridge versus a chocolate bar. One gives that nice slow release, and one gives you the spike, and then you're hungry again. Because the polyphenols in the seaweed, they help to inhibit enzymes that break down carbohydrates. So what it means is you more slowly break down carbohydrates, so you get a more sustained release of energy, as opposed to that quicker release and then being hungry again. So yeah, lots of different benefits.
Fascinating. I love how you've saved the best nugget till last, that it's actually going to help with weight loss. It's like, wow, that's mind-blowing.
And I think, you know, even the iodine and with, you know, with the Focus product, because it's energy, metabolism, that does help with weight loss, because your metabolism just works better. And it is the efficiency of turning your food into fuel. So you have to, food into energy, or fuel into energy. So because you're doing it more effectively, you're not laying it down as fat, and you're burning it, and you have that energy that you need to help with that focus and all the other benefits around brain health and mental health, etc.
Wonderful.
So I would strongly encourage this for your kids and all the work and exams that they do, and your parents as well. You know, into later life, it's so important, and that mental performance, that mental agility as well.
Brilliant. Craig, it's such a pleasure to have you back here. Honestly, you have so much knowledge and evidence-based research. We always learn so much. Thank you very much, both for your time, but also for the amazing discounts. You know, we are just so thrilled. I hope it encourages lots of people to try it, because I genuinely think it's such a good thing. You know, health is wealth, and it's so easy to just have a couple of bits here that can super help with the way we feel.
Absolutely. And, you know, the discount is very good, and look, times are hard for so many people, but like you say, health is wealth, and overall, for the amount of nutrition you get, these are not expensive products, and are so essential in what it's providing.
So essential. And if you're not going to eat the white fish, you know, you're going to have your big plate of veggies and beans or whatever, at least you can get the nutrition that you would have had, you know, for a fraction of the cost, frankly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, and people, you know, subscribe, because you save even more, and that consistency is key. You know, it's like Sarah Jane, our nutritionist, always says, you wouldn't exercise for a week and then expect it to last the rest of the year. You might want to, but sadly it doesn't work that way. You have to do it every day or several times a week. So it's the same with supplements. take them every day, and then you'll feel the benefit. And that's why a subscription helps so much, because you know it's coming and you remember and get those benefits and see the real.
Yeah, it's automatic. I love it. I definitely have auto-subscribe on the key things that I really rely on. Definitely. Thank you, Craig.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'll see you maybe in the Outer Hebrides next time. Maybe we'll actually connect in person.
Definitely. Perfect. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. And we didn't get photobombed by Ishka. They left us alone. They wouldn't dare. Anyway, sending you hearts.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You're going to have to leave me, because otherwise, if I click off, then I might lose everybody. Isn't that so fascinating? Oh, my goodness. And then he waited right till the end to say, and it helps with weight loss. It's like, right, okay. Thank you very much. So just to remind you, on everything from Dr. Seaweed, the basic one, immunity, the new one, which is focus, which is one that comes with the DHA oils, and menopause, they are all, I think, 15% off. Sorry, no, say again. 20% off with Liz Loves. If you just want a single box, 20% off. Or if you subscribe, then you get an extra 15%, so 35% off, more than a third off. Amazing, really, really good. And as Craig said, if you really don't like it, then you can cancel your subscription. No questions asked. So I think that is a very, very, very good deal, and something that I would highly recommend. If you want to try Ishka, of course, this is the one that I've been using. This is the Hebridean Marine Toner. Absolutely love it. And do you know how sometimes you can get those tonics that I think they're called glow tonics that make your skin glow? Well, this has got salicylic acid in it alongside the seaweed, and that gives you that lovely glow. It's just great. I'm really, really enjoying it. And having been up there and seen where they get the seaweed, they literally, these ladies, they go out with buckets in the morning and they're can cutting this fresh seaweed, and then they soak it overnight, and then they use that liquid with water from the healing well, natural spring water. There's this well hidden in the hillside, and actually I went with Malcolm and we found it. I put pictures on my Instagram. It was remarkable, absolutely remarkable. But you know, it's like cooking, isn't it? If you have good quality ingredients, you get a great taste, you get a great dish. Same always with skincare and anything, you know, and supplements. You have good ingredients, you get a great quality product. Anyway, Ishka, Liz Loves, gets you 15% off everything from them. A couple of other things that I am really enjoying, just to mention before I go. Lily's Serum is back in stock, the Rich Gold Hyaluronic Acid Serum. And she sold out and there was a wait list. But that, again, has the Liz Loves. You can see how I'm loving it. This is the real gold particles. Anybody else been trying it? Oh my goodness, my skin has just got this glow. Even though I'm feeling a bit under the weather, I feel that I still get the glow from it, because it's got this fantastic quality of hyaluronic acid, and it's got 18 different botanicals, and it has the pure gold. I mean, even just putting it on my hand, I don't know whether you can see my hand glow, but it really is a good one. And if you've got the mask, the cell return mask, use this before you use the mask, and the mask makes this 3 times more effective. I mean, what she's doing with skin tech is amazing. So I'm in awe, actually, of my daughter Lily. Love what I'm learning from her for a change. Always really good to have people around you that inspire you and educate. The other thing that I am loving very, very quickly, Quercetin, the BioCare Quercetin for hay fever. Anybody else trying this? So very quick story. I've been using this for hay fever, and I had a guest who came to lunch for my housewarming lunch who arrived absolutely streaming, because I am surrounded by fields full of pollen. And they said, I'm really, really sorry. You know, I think I might have to go because I'm just so blocked up and so streaming. And been on mega antihistamines, nothing cutting through it. So I gave him 2, don't think it was 3, I think it was 2 of these capsules, and an hour later, completely fine. And he messaged me afterwards to say, I can't believe that something like a food supplement, Quercetin, could be so effective when I've been using antihistamines these last few weeks and nothing has helped. So there you go, BioCare. We do have a Liz Loves on the whole range of BioCare. It's 15% off, biocare.co.uk, Liz Loves. So this is what I buy from them. I use my Liz Loves discount code to get this. And I take, if my hay fever is really bad, I take 2 capsules 3 times a day. And it's a plant complex. Quercetin is the polyphenol that's found naturally in red-skinned fruits and veg. Red-skinned apples, for example, contain quercetin. And this one I like it because it also has nettle leaf, which is a traditional remedy for hay fever, and bromelain and vitamin C. So it's a really nice one. But honestly, I know hay fever is so awful, so debilitating, particularly if you've got youngsters doing exams, struggling, sniffing, sneezing, not being able to concentrate, just to have this. I actually recommended it. I was recording, as I said earlier, a podcast with Melissa Hemsley, and she apologised for being all snuffly because she said she's got hay fever. So before we click record, I gave her this long lecture on quercetin. She was literally going to go off and buy it. I must tell her actually there's a Liz Love so that she can buy it more cheaply. Anyway, that is about it. The other thing that I'm really liking is Pause, the Noggin Pause. This is the one with magnesium, hops and ashwagandha. So this is the one that just helps you switch off and be calm. Really love that one. So I guess if you're taking your seaweed to boost you in the morning, something like the Noggin Pause to help just calm everything down. 10% off at nogginbrain.co.uk, and that's a Liz Loves, so do check that out. They've got lovely things. Fab female founder, if you tuned into the live that I did with Noggin, really, really good. For those who've been asking, my lip gloss, complete change of subject before I go, is the Studio 10. I love it. That's what it looks like. I think it might even be the only one they do. Really just lovely, simple, fresh summer colour. Studio 10 lip gloss, and we do have a discount. Yes, 20%. Love it. Isn't that great? And that's studio10beauty.com. Okay, you can find all these, by the way, on lizearlewellbeing.com. Just head over there if you want to check any of them out. Anyway, that is it for today. I'm going to be talking skincare on Thursday. Skincare and medication. I'm going to be joined by another fab female founder. We're going to be talking about severe illness. We're going to be talking about help for menopause. We're going to be talking about troubled skin and all of that. So a real beauty focus for Thursday. So I hope you'll join me. Until then, enjoy the sunshine if the sun is shining where you are, and look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks for all the hearts. Bye-bye. Thank you.